Hi, Robin here with a review of this thing on my glove, the Mobitee Peak Analyzer. First time I've done a review of a product. It's not something I normally do, but the company sent me this. I give it a try on the golf course and here on the driving range. I saw the benefit to me and some of my students, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you guys what it does. So there's two functions to this. First, the practice function when you're on the driving range. And then secondly, on the golf course, where it's going to collect your data, your score, your distances, some of your swing data, which you can review at a later date. But I'll show you guys later on when I'm out on the golf course. First up, let's have a look at the driving range and maybe how we set up this before we go ahead and hit some golf balls. So it's as simple as this to set it up. Simply make sure Bluetooth's enabled on your phone, turn on the app, hold the red button down on the hand receiver. It'll take a few seconds, but the two will pair up and you're ready to go to either play in the course or to hit a few balls on the driving range. Now, honestly, first of all, when I first saw this receiver, I thought it might be a little bit awkward. I might feel it, an uncomfortable feeling during the swing. But truthfully, once you've got it on, it's very light and you wouldn't even notice it. So I have seen a few people saying, "What's that in your hand?" It must be uncomfortable, but actually, I really don't feel it at all. I'm not even aware it's there. I kind of forget that I'm actually playing with it on, so no issues there at all. So now we're ready to hit a few balls. As I say, let's first of all look at the practice function and maybe how we can use that when we're practicing to give us some good feedback and see if we can make a few improvements. Okay, let's hit a few balls. Now, one of the kind of cool little functions of this I like is that you get these little sensors that go in the bottom of your club. There's one for each club. They're marked at the bottom, so you put them in the corresponding clubs. And simply before you hit a shot, all you do is you scan the sensor over the top of the receiver, and you'll get a little, as you scan it over, it'll actually come up with which club it is. So it's come up using a 6 sign. It comes up with 6 sign. And that means that your data on the driving range can be saved depending on which club you're using, and obviously there's a lot of benefits to that when we get out on the golf course. So now I'm just practicing with 6 iron, and from what I can see, there's sort of 4 functions it's going to analyze. It's going to analyze the length of your swing. It can analyze the speed of your swing, the tempo, and the club path. Now it'll depend a little bit on what you're working on, but certainly with me, to give you an example, my swing can get a little bit on the fast side. We're really kind of looking for that 3-to-1 ratio because I work on that a lot with my students. Some good research on that. Tour Tempo was a good book, but you'll find that most great players' tempo is in around that 3-to-1 range, and the Peak Analyzer can give you data, can give you feedback on what your tempo is. Also, the length of your swing. Obviously, a lot of people find it difficult knowing. You might think you swung a little short, or you might think you swung a little long, but often what feel to real are 2 different things. So this can give you some really good quality feedback to improve the quality of your practice. So simply, if I was to hit a few balls, I'm working on just my tempo can get a little bit towards the sort of 2.5 to 3. 2.5 to 1 ratio, which is a little bit on the quick side, backswing to downswing. So I try to slow it down a little bit in the backswing and also make my swing a little bit longer. I get a little bit short, and obviously that makes my tempo a little bit faster. So I try to lengthen out my swing, keep it a little bit slower. And with each shot, I can then look at the data of that shot. So let's bring that up for you. So you can see it gives me a scorecard, which is based on 3 components: the swing path, the swing speed, and tempo. Personally, I'm not I don't look at the score too much. I wanted to see the individual data, whether it's myself hitting balls or whether it's a student. So my backswing length was 216 degrees. Okay, it's giving me a good score, but I would prefer to see that a little bit longer. To help my tempo. My swing path was square. Actually, the shot went pretty straight, so I would believe that data. Club head speed, 99 miles an hour. Then it breaks down the sort of speed of the timing of my swing, the backswing time, the downswing time, the duration of the swing, which gives you a tempo. So you can see my tempo is 2.5 to 1. As I say, that's a little bit on the quick side relative backswing to downswing. So for me personally, as I say, I know I'd like to see my backswing a little longer, which will mean the duration, the time will be a little longer. So that'll be a little bit slower relative to the downswing, helping that tempo come more into that 3 to 1 bracket. So it's giving us sort of analyzing 4 data points of the swing: length, the path, the speed, and the tempo. Just depending on your faults, depending on what people are working on, you can look at different ones. But for me, say I'm looking at tempo and length of swing. So let's hit a few more balls and just show you how I go about kind of using this just in practicing. Okay, let's see if I can use this to help me and just lengthen out my backswing a touch and improve my tempo. So the swing definitely felt a little longer there, but sometimes what we feel we do and what actually happens are 2 different things, as we all know. So let's have a look. So that was 230 degrees, so definitely a little longer. Path was good. Tempo had improved up to 2.7 to 1. So what I felt I did, what actually happened, were pretty closely matched. And that matching what you felt you did to real data is where you can improve the quality of your practice and make progress faster with less amount of balls, less amount of time. Let's try again. To be honest, I would be pretty happy with that, so I don't think it needs to be too different, but let's see if we can get a repeating movement going, a repeating length of swing. It felt a touch shorter, a little more rushed as a result, a little bit on the thin side. Let's see. Just a little shorter, 228 degrees. Tempo is still similar, but for me that's positive because I can feel what's going on in my swing. A lot of times when people are making that change or trying to improve their own game, at the beginning you can't feel it. You might have an overswing, you felt like you swung shorter, but you really didn't. It's a fact you can't really learn without feedback, and it has to be quality feedback. So just getting a little bit of quality feedback in your practice, I think you can most people can speed up their progress and get more out of their practice time. So certainly for me, I'm enjoying that with I'm trying to tempo, length of swing. Other people, there's some of their data points that might be more relative to you. But definitely a good tool on the driving range for many people. And I personally wouldn't be using it all the time, but every now and again, just putting it on, seeing where I am, it's good feedback and kind of keeps me in line, keeps me in check. Let's head out to the course. So I'm at my second shot. Now, even though I'm a professional golfer, I've actually never really got around to buying a Bushnell. So I'm always one of those guys asking my playing partner how far I've got to the hole. But this is something I like about this. On the sensor, all we need to do is click the red button, and that'll pop up in the sensor how far I've got to the hole. And in the settings, I can change that to either front of the green, middle of the green, or back of the green. I've selected front of the green because just in my system, I want to know how far it is to the front of the green, then I can add on a certain amount to the pin. So in this situation, it's come up 142 yards to the front of the green. I know the pin's on about 15, so I got 157 yards to the pin. I've checked this against Bushnell. It's surprisingly accurate, and it gives me some confidence I've got the right club in my hand without having to ask my playing partners. Just as I said before, all I do now is I just scan the sensor in the butt of the club off the hand sensor. It'll now log in that I've chosen a 7-iron for this shot, which will keep that data so I can look at it at the end of the round. So let's give it a try. 157 is about right for me for a 7-iron. Maybe I need to hit a slight control shot. So definitely a good feature. The distance saves you buying a Bushnell. It's accurate. It's on your hand. I really like this about the Peak Analyzer. Okay, the other thing I like here is that on your phone, on the app, it actually brings up a map of the hole, where you are in the fairway, how far you got to go. So you can see I've just walked down the fairway a little bit here, showing me I've got 114 yards to the front. Actually, I used this on a golf course last week, which I hadn't played before. It was really useful, so I could see a map of the hole before I played it, see where the bunkers were, see the correct angles into the pins, etc. And also, you know, just seeing the distance to the hole, which, yes, I can get it on my hand sensor, but if I'm looking at my phone, I can get that information from two different places. Little something here to note: they've obviously taken the image off this off the satellite, which is during the winter here, so the grass is brown, the snow on the ground, so it's not that clear in this case. But the course I played last week was very clear. But maybe that's something they're updating. It's not really a disadvantage. I can still see the shape of the hole, where the bunkers are, how far I've got to go. Yeah, it's a feature I like, and another positive thing here for when I'm out in the golf course. So the last thing I like about the golf course feature is maybe after the game, or the day after in this case, being able to go into the app, have a look at my games. Obviously all the games you've played, the data is kept there, but I can see yesterday Phoenix Springs, so click on that, and there's plenty of info in there. But what I like about it is being able to then go and have a look at some different shots. So for example, maybe the second shot at the first felt particularly good. I can go and look at the data of that shot, maybe the length of the backswing and the tempo in my case, and maybe compare it against some shots that didn't feel so good, maybe the second shot, for example. And maybe over time I start to see some patterns of when I felt good versus when I didn't feel good, my good games versus my bad games, and that info will help me focus in my practice time on things I know will make me better. And yeah, for many people I think that'll help. I think that's a cool feature, and something I haven't seen before. So overall, a good product. I'd give it 8 out of 10. There might be a few things on there I don't particularly trust the accuracy of, but there's enough on here for me to think it's a worthwhile purchase. Just the distances alone for me are great, not having a Bushnell. Some of the practice things, the tempo, length of swing, being able to look at the map, and maybe being able to look back at some of my better shots, for me makes it worthwhile. I'm enjoying using it. I think there's golfers out there who would also enjoy using it and find that they get some benefit from it, both on the driving range and on the golf course. So the Peak Analyzer, good product. I kind of recommend it to people to give it a try.